Hey, Chuck here, Corner Store Car Collector, back with another video. So in this video I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to show off some photos that I found, I don't know, probably a couple of years ago, right before my wife and I did the big move from California to Texas. We went into this antique shop in Half Moon Bay, which is a little bit south from San Francisco. And inside this antique shop I was thumbing through a whole bunch of photographs, and I came across a big lot of sports photos, and these photos are from the 1920s and 1930s. So I selected probably 15 or 20 of them, and just because I'm a history buff, I am a history major, so anything history kind of intrigues me, and especially sports way back in the early days, the types of uniforms that they wore, the types of equipment that they use is very fascinating to see. So it looks like the photographs were used in some sort of a display of some sort, or movie reels or something like that, because they're all numbered, they're all marked, and it looks like they went through some photography company in Burbank or Berkeley or somewhere in California. So I'm not sure what these photos were, but they're actually pretty decent photos, and they're very intriguing. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around. I'm going to show you the photos that I picked up. All right, so let's take a look and see what I got. All right, so as I was saying, I picked up probably about 15 or 20 different photos from an antique store in Half Moon Bay, California, while my wife and I were on vacation, just before we decided to make the move from California to Texas. And in these photos, they're all sports photos. I think I have one or two football photos. I think there's a soccer photo, but the majority of them are baseball photos. And what's intriguing about them is there's a lot of different types of equipment that they're using, and it's just really cool to look at. But before I get started, I want to tell you about one of my best finds that I picked up in an antique store. I was in Virginia last summer, and my wife and I were visiting some family, and we decided to go check out some of the antique stores that they have there. And I actually found two binders of full newspapers from February of 1961 all the way through, it was actually February 1st of 1961 all the way through November 30th of 1961. And it is one of the most coolest things that I've ever found. I'm probably read through about the first 10% maybe of the first book, so I think I'm still in the month of February, but it's really intriguing to read some of these articles from the 1860s. If you're a history buff like I am, you know that time frame covers the Civil War, or the beginning of the Civil War, so there's a lot of articles that talk about troop movements and those types of things that deal with the Civil War. Talks about just everyday life, so it's really fascinating. What I'm looking for, though, is I'm trying to find sports stories in these newspaper articles, and the newspaper company is called the New York Tribune. It doesn't exist anymore. I think it went out of business in the late 1960s. But anyways, back in the 1860s, they were a very popular newspaper in New York. And yeah, I'm still trying to search to see if I can find any sports stories. I'm not sure how far back sports went back. I'm sure they were playing sports in the 1860s, but I'm not sure if they were being covered by newspapers or reporters or anything like that. So if I find anything interesting, I'll take screenshots of it or pictures, or however I can translate that into putting it on camera and letting you check it out. But in the meantime, let's go and take a look at the pictures that I've gotten from this antique shop in California. So there are a few of the photos that I have that have names written on them. I did come across one name that did make it. I just Googled the names and things, and one of the guys in the photos actually got drafted by the Seattle Indians in the 1920s or 1930s. I didn't even know there was a team called the Seattle Indians. But anyways, yeah, he got drafted into the major leagues back then. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first one. So this is a photo from the 1930s. On their uniforms, it says Bank of America. So I don't really know if Bank of America had a team, or this was a local team that was sponsored by Bank of America. Trying to research these, it's very challenging. So I really haven't gotten much details on these photos. Yeah, so that's the first one. This next one looks like it was cut and pasted on here. They got dates on there, and there's numbers, and so it looks like this might have been part of a newsreel or Not really sure, but that's pretty cool. Got a guy on the right there swinging. Looks like maybe he hit the ball and he's running on this left photo here. But this photo is mid 1930s. Nothing on the back of that. Got a smaller photo here. Old style glove. This dates back to around the 1930s. That looks like it might be like a college team. Nothing on the back. Here's another one that's pasted to a board with tack numbers, and I think this is the one that's got the, so yeah, this has something to do with a photography company that made these photos and made a slideshow or something out of it. But these ones have names on them. I did Google their names and didn't really have any success with finding out anything about them. But this looks like it's a college, maybe a college Catholic team, or maybe high school, St. Mary's. But you can see the old style gloves. Good shot of one up top here. This is 20s or 30s. Actually kind of a neat photo. This next photo is of a basketball team. I'm not sure what team this would be, but it says on their shirts the Gales, G-A-E-L-S. Again, we have markings on the back. Is that Berkeley? Yeah, these were done in Berkeley, California, so that's pretty close to Oakland, San Francisco, and then Half Moon Bay is just a little bit more closer to the coast. But yeah, that's a pretty neat photo there. What I plan on doing is I'm going to buy a big picture frame that's got all the different types of shapes and sizes in them, and I'm going to put some of these in there and make a nice little collage of these photos. This looks like an old soccer team from the 30s. You can tell by the ball. The ball looks really, really old. The way they dress. Yeah. This one's got a list of all kinds of names on the back. Pretty neat. This has a date on it of March 25th, 1935. So this is mid 1930s. Pretty neat photo. Okay, here's one with four gentlemen just standing for a pose. The guy on the left looks like he's a catcher. I haven't seen catching equipment like that probably ever, I don't think. Looks pretty dated. This one again is from the St. Mary's team. This one has some names on the back. If any of you want to Google these names, have at it. Maybe find some information out. Leave a comment in the comment box and let me know what you found out. Like I said, I didn't look at all the names, but I did find one so far that did get drafted into the Major League Baseball. Here's a nice little old, this one's from the 20s. You can see the gear down there. Look how old that equipment looks. Look at their uniforms. Got a couple of young boys here. I don't know what their deal is being in the picture. They might be sons of these people or the baseball players, or they could be siblings. Could be kids of the coaches. Not really sure. This one says Half Moon Bay on it. I'm not sure if this is a college team or a high school team or just a team that represented Half Moon Bay at the time. This one's got a bunch of names on the back, and it seems like the majority of the names are on multiple pictures for multiple sports. I do recognize a few of them being on the basketball team, as being on the baseball team, and that soccer team. There's a few of them that were on there, so it might just be the high school pictures. Not really sure though. This is my favorite one right here. This is a nice shot of early NFL. This is a great photo. This comes from October 7th of 1939. So that's way back in the day. That's back when there was only probably a handful of NFL teams. The majority of them were college teams back then, but you can just see the uniforms. They don't even have masks on their helmet. This is at least at a time where they had those leather skull covers. I tried to look up the uniforms to see if I can identify the players with their numbers. So I don't know if this is college, if this is the pros. It looks like an old Green Bay Packers uniform, to be honest with you. This guy in the middle here, I'm not really sure. But this is just a great action shot of history right here in the NFL. Me being a football guy, this is the kind of picture I can appreciate. Look how filled the stands were. So football was just as popular back in the late 30s as it is now. But just an outstanding photo. This one is going to get a frame by itself. I'm going to put this and get it double matted. It's a really nice, cool photo. Okay, I got two small photos on this next one here. There's a football photo down here. Looks like maybe an offensive line or who knows, defensive line. And then here's a football team right here. On the ball it says 1935. I gotta take that off this camera real quick. I might have to use my magnifying glass on that one. Yep, 1935. So these are photos from 1935. Pretty cool team right there. And I would imagine that these are probably from the same group of people in the photo there up top. Pretty neat. Here's some photos from the 20s. Yeah, the photos are just amazing to look at. Look at some of the still pictures. This picture right here looks like it's, you can see this wooded area here, or this looks like an old, or nowadays like you'd see like around a golf course or something, or a driving range, where they're trying to protect certain areas like roads and homes and things like that. The guy over here swinging a bat. Two guys just posing. Take a look at how old his glove is. Yeah, just amazing. Whoa, I'm gonna have to cut that out. Let me fix that. Sorry about that. All right, so here's another action shot. It looks like this guy struck or swung and missed the ball. Looks like it's St. Mary's again. Really neat action shot right there. And then the final photo is a 4-photo shot of just 4 different individuals. You got the second guy from the left in a nice action shot catching a ball. Looks like this guy over here looks like he might have been pitching. And these two might be just fielders. And again, these guys come from the Gals and the St. Mary's. They might be just the St. Mary's Gals, I'm not really sure. They do have names on the bottom. I did not look at this photo or the names on this photo yet, so I'm gonna Google them and see if I can find anything out. All right, yeah, so there it is. I got, you know, nice little selection of photos from the 1920s and 1930s. My favorite one being that football action shot from 1939, which is a really cool shot. So yeah, let me know what you think about the pictures. If you're into that kind of stuff, I collect everything and anything that has to do with sports. I like to go to antique shops and find old magazines or newspapers from the 30s, 40s, 50s that just have like the box scores and stuff in it, because I like to read all that stuff. And I just put them away in boxes after I look at them for a while, and then I move on to the next thing. But yeah, let me know what you think about the pictures. All right, that's it for today. We'll see you on the next video. All right, bye.